Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We are discussing food science and technology, in which we are discussing the food constituents. In the previous lecture, we have discussed the water and its significance or its role. In this lecture, we will discuss the carbohydrates, its classification, its importance, and the other properties. It starts from how they are formed. Carbohydrates are formed from the CO2 of the atmosphere and water from the soil by the green parts of the plants and the presence of sunlight by the process of photosynthesis. Remember that CO2 is taken from the atmosphere, H2 is taken from the soil through its roots, and by the presence of the sunlight, the green parts of the plants that are called the chloroplast, they convert it into the carbohydrates by the process of the photosynthesis, and the water molecules or the oxygen molecules are released. Remember that the oxygen molecules or the oxygen is utilized for the breathing purposes of the animals, of the human beings throughout their lives, and for the breathing of the plants at night. Thus, we can say that the world is existing and is present because of the presence of the plants. If there are no plants, there will be shortage of oxygen, there will be no oxygen, and there will be no life. So, the importance of the plants and of the photosynthesis is crystal clear from this statement. Now, we are discussing the classification of the carbohydrates. Remember that there are two main classes of the carbohydrates, that is the simple carbohydrates and compound carbohydrates. Now we are discussing the simple carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates have two types, monosaccharides and disaccharides. These are the two units. The monosaccharides are the simplest units and they cannot be further hydrolyzed into anything simpler, while the disaccharides are composed of the monosaccharides, and when two monosaccharides condense together, they form a disaccharide and a water molecule is released. Remember that the mono and disaccharide are collectively termed and referred as sugars. The monosaccharides are glucose, fructose, and galactose, while the disaccharide are the maltose, lactose, and sucrose. Sucrose are the sugars which we are consuming in our lives, but the scientific name or scientific word which is used for it is the sucrose. Now, how they are formed means how which monosaccharides condense together to form the specific disaccharide. If two glucose units condense together, they will form a maltose with one water molecule. And when one glucose and one fructose units condense together, they will form sucrose. And when one glucose and one galactose together, they will form the lactose. Lactose is present and found in milk. Remember that the sweetness of every and each and every monosaccharide and disaccharide are different than each other, and a special rank has been given to the sucrose on the basis of its sweetness. Why the sucrose has been chosen? Because it is mainly consumed by the human beings in their diet. So it has been given the preference or the point that its sweetness has been considered as 100. Now the sweetness of other mono and disaccharides are compared with it. If the sweetness of the sucrose is considered 100, the sweetness of fructose will be 173, the sweetness of glucose will be 74, the sweetness of the galactose will be 32, the sweetness of the lactose will be 16, and the sweetness of the lactose is 32. Means glucose is not sweeter than the sucrose, while fructose is the most sweet. If taken the sucrose 100, the sweetness of fructose is 173. That is, it is the sweetest monodisaccharide, the sugar. While the sweetness of the galactose is 32, the sweetness of the lactose is 16, and the sweetness of the maltose is 32. When the sugars are obtained from two main things, that is from the sugar cane and from the sugar beet. The sugar cane sugars are white in color, and the sugar beet sugars are brownish in color. Remember that when the sugars are intensely heated, they turn brown, and this turning brown of the sugars is known as the caramelization, which is required and desired for the bakery products preparation. So it is also required thing to prepare the bakery products that the sugar should be intensely heated to turn it brown. Now the compound carbohydrates have also two major types, that is the oligosaccharides and the polysaccharides. When from 2 to 10, between 2 to 10, that is from 3 to 7, 3 to 8, 3 to 9, different definitions have been given in different books. When 3 to 7 monosaccharides condense together, they release the water molecule and they form a saccharide known as the oligosaccharide. While when more monosaccharides condense together, when more than this, they are called the polysaccharides. The polysaccharides may be straight chain or branched chain. The straight chain polysaccharides are low in their molecular weight, while the branched chain polysaccharides have a higher molecular weight. Examples of the straight chain polysaccharides are the amylose, and the branched chain are the amylopectin. The amylose has from 70 to 350 monosaccharide units condensed together with the release of water molecule, while the amylopectin have several hundred monosaccharide units condensed together to release water molecule. Remember that there are different types of the polysaccharides, of the carbohydrates, that is starch, cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, gum, etc. If we take the example of the cellulose, they are present in the cell wall of the plants. Remember that there is one main difference in the cellular structure of the plants and animals. The animal have the outer layer known as the cell membrane, while the plants have the outer layer known as the cell wall. Cell wall is composed of cellulose, and cellulose is a carbohydrate, and the cellulose are tied together by a thickening agent known as the pectin or gum, which is also a carbohydrate. So the carbohydrates have a main role in to keep the plants straight or erect, and to help the cells tied together, it is the pectin or the gum, the thickening agent which provides viscosity. It is present in the fruits and vegetables. The pectin is present in the fruits and vegetables which provide thickness. In the upcoming lecture, we will discuss the properties of the carbohydrates, its types. They will be discussed in the upcoming lecture. Thank you.